Hi guys, so today we're going to be going over our book club presentation for Unleash Possible Chapter 4. My name is Jake Harper,
My name is Erica Tascone.
My name is Ryan Tran.
and today I'll first be handing it off to Erica.
Thank you so much. So before we get into our presentation for today, wanted to give you guys a quick just rundown of our agenda. So first we'll be getting a quick introduction of what quality leads are and how that can be different between sales and marketing teams. Then we'll look at a quick case study and see how that relates back. Then we'll get a deeper dive into lead scoring as well as driving organizational change. And then we'll wrap it up with a quick little quiz just as a refresher of everything that we've learned. So let's go ahead and get right in. Wanted to give you guys a quick little cartoon. I know it looks a little silly, but this definitely runs very true to the challenges that sales and marketing teams may face. So as we see in this cartoon, it says, but of all those clicks, and didn't you say lead volume was up? And really what this is trying to depict is just that challenge between how marketing teams and sales teams might measure success. So for marketing teams, their objective is really just trying to get as many leads as possible. And so while leads might be up on the marketing side, that doesn't necessarily equate to sales being up as well. As we've learned as well, conversion rates aren't always the highest. All in all, one thing doesn't equate the other. So high amount of leads doesn't necessarily equate high amount of sales. So next, we'll get into a little bit more of a deeper dive. So again, just a quick recap on leads. Leads can mean a lot of different things for different businesses, different industries. So in this case, according to the book, we learned that leads are defined by appointments with buyers who meet their prospective profile, their prospect profile, excuse me. So those three categories of prospects that they were targeting were CIOs, VPs of enterprise architecture, and VPs of data warehousing. So these were the type of profiles that they really wanted to target when looking at who to offer beta testing, which is the ultimate goal, is to get some CIOs, VPs in the door and offer beta testing for their products, and in hopes that they'll be interested and then maybe convert that to sale. However, that being said, the main problem faced here is appropriate engagement with prospective buyers. So something we'll also get a little further into in the next slides is, although a company might be engaging a lot, a client might be engaging a lot with certain types of content, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're guaranteed to make a sale. So in order to maybe combat this, the solution that we're proposed with is a lead scoring model. And one thing to, again, just emphasize is the more that a prospect engages with the seller doesn't necessarily equate to a better quality lead. So that is the biggest takeaway here. So going a little further into different types of leads, as we know, marketing and the sales departments, they navigate leads differently. So for marketing departments, success might be measured by the amount of leads generated, and this can come through numerous different ways and marketing efforts. And lead goals are based upon expected revenue and industry benchmark conversion rates. However, on the flip side, marketing might be funneling leads to the sales department, but sales has a different way of measuring success. So that being said, success is measured typically by the amount of leads that are actually converted. So of those 1,000 leads, how many of those actually ended up signing contracts and adopting this new software, for example? So goals are typically measured by sales quotas or conversion/close rates. So as you can see, it's a little different. And that being said, they also do encounter different types of challenges. So for the marketing side, 57% of organizations report that 85% or fewer than 85% of leads delivered by marketing are followed up by sales. So as I was explaining earlier, marketing might be doing a great job as generating as many leads as possible, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all of those leads are going to close. And a challenge that the sales department faces is that 66.9% of respondents report that sales teams are not rewarded for supporting marketing objectives. So a big challenge that organizations face is a true disconnect between marketing and sales departments in terms of what their goals are, what their successes are, and really everything in between. So as we saw in that graphic earlier, sometimes they might clash and not see eye to eye on really how to go about leads. So I'll hand this off to Jake, and then we'll go further into the rest of the case study and give you a better understanding.
Thank you, Erica. So now we're going to go over the case study for this chapter, which is named Less is More. The author in this case was tasked with assisting a software company in generating more leads for them. She found that internally, both marketing and sales felt that they were in the right and that the other side wasn't really doing enough. So to kind of go into that a little more, marketing felt that they had done a great job of generating enough leads for sales to, get some customers out of. But there was a disagreement as to the quality of leads, and both sides generally weren't communicating very well with each other. And this sort of drove them apart and created a rift within the company. So during the author's research, he found that the marketers weren't targeting the proper kind of activity and weren't actually just tracking any kind of activity from any potential leads and recommending them to sales without any sort of organization. And that can be a problem because that can result in a lot of poor leads being put onto the sales team, and then they have to sift through those repeatedly, and that can just make their job a much bigger headache and take a lot longer. So when she noticed this, she decided the solution would be to develop a new categorization system that would organize the lead by its quality and potential for the sales team to use. So she decided to put these into four primary categories of leads. A suspect lead is a relatively new name in the database and it has no meaningful connection to the organization yet. A qualified lead would be a potential customer that actually interacted with the company or perhaps interacted with them at like a booth at a convention. An inbound qualified lead would be contacts that have actually reached out to the organization. They request a quote or a demo of the software. These would be, excellent quality for the sales team. This would be, the customer showing interest, and so this would be a great lead for them. There's also referral leads where clients talk to other clients and say, "Hey, we recommend this software company," and those leads are also awesome because it's a recommendation. So as a result of this, kind of the actions and result here, the suspect lead types were no longer recommended or tracked by the marketing team. That resulted in a huge, over half decrease of the leads, but the quality went way up. And management was initially very worried about this, but as we see by the second action and result, the reduction in those suspect leads allowed for marketers to focus on actual clients that were interested in their product. This resulted in revenues increasing by 25%, so a huge improvement. And the last sort of action result was sales and marketing now formed far closer relationship with each other, and they didn't have as much tension as they had before, which really was splitting them apart. And that really helped both sides. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand it off to Kalen for his part.
Lead scoring is a critical process for evaluating and prioritizing potential customers. It begins by defining your ideal customer profile, which involves identifying key demographics such as job title, company size, and firmographics like industry or company revenue. Understanding these traits help categorize leads more effectively. Next, assign point values to lead attributes through two types of scoring. Explicit scoring is based off of the lead's fit, such as their job title or company size, while implicit scoring is based on their behavior, including actions like website visits, email clicks, or content downloads. Higher points should be awarded to behaviors that show strong interest, such as visiting a price page or engaging in product-related content. Once scoring is in place, set a clear set clear qualification thresholds to differentiate between marketing qualified leads, MLQs, and sales qualified leads, SLQs. Leads researching specific point levels can then be passed on to the appropriate team for follow-up, ensuring that the most promising prospects are prioritized. Finally, automate and refine your lead scoring system using CRM or marketing automation tools. These systems can automatically assign scores and categorize leads. Regularly reviewing and adjusting the scoring model ensures it stays relevant and effective based on the real-world performance.
And now we'll hand it off to Ryan to go over the how-to guidelines driving organizational change.
So when it comes to the guidelines of driving organizations, one of the first steps that a company or like a team would do would be to set expectations. In the book, it talks about lead times and how it would normally take about 6 to 9 months. In order for the team to be more organized, a good um, a good step would be to set like milestones for your team, so that it promotes like a consistency with work being done and overall meeting your goals before the deadline. So another step would be find quick wins. Again, going off of the lead times being about 6 to 9 months in length, it takes a while, and many of these organizations will be impatient about it. So as a marketer, what you can do is basically show like progress reports for these lead times and satisfy their uh, these organizations like needs by like showcasing its development. Another step would be to have faith. Um, so again, these lead times being very long, they can also encounter a lot of like problems as well. So allowing your team to be being more patient and allowing your team to work on these like problems and allowing the buyer to also build a more strong relationship with you can ultimately benefit you. Another step would be to take everyone on the journey. So basically to kind of keep your team engaged and also support each other and kind of have like a common goal. It can help by strengthening communication between the team members and also just cooperation. Lastly, um, when the lead is finished, instead of just kind of putting it to the sidelines, you can instead regularly check on it and determine how well the lead scoring system is, and also running conversion reports. And now I'm going to be talking about like the quizzes that we have for you guys.
Awesome. So for this next part of our presentation, I want to provide just a little bit of a quiz for you guys. So this first question here is a bit of an easier one. So this is relating back to that slide that we discussed of how sales and marketing teams might be a little different. So true or false, marketing and sales teams share the same lead generation goals. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think about that before I share the answer. Awesome. Well, I hope you've got your answer. The correct answer is false, as we learned throughout the book and throughout this presentation. Oftentimes, sales and marketing teams have very different ways in how they measure success.
So for our next quiz question, we're going to take kind of a look at the type of leads and specifically a definition in this case for them. So the question is, what kind of lead is new to the organization's database and has no meaningful connection to the organization? I'll give you guys just a couple seconds to think over that one. So hopefully you have your answer down. And the correct answer in this case is going to be a suspect lead. As we went over earlier, these aren't really meaningful connections if you have a suspect lead and they're very new to the database, and these were eventually discarded in the case.
How can implementing a lead scoring system improve the efficiency of marketing campaigns and increase the overall conversion rate of qualified leads? I'll give you guys some time to think about it. All right, and then the correct answer is going to be D, all of the above. So all these answers are going to be correct.
So my question would be, how can organizational guidelines improve team performance? I'll give you guys a couple seconds to answer it. And the correct answer is D, provide consistent directions and reduce confusion.
Thank you guys for listening to our presentation. If you have any questions or comments, just reply below, please.